application or maybe through a mobile also. Okay. Now, guys, I have started a recording as well for our session. And now let's start our session. Okay. For that, what I would be doing is I would be sharing my screen. And first, let me just tell you about the changes. Like, what are the changes in the entire syllabus? First, I will give you the high level idea about the changes. So, basically, for that, so if you will see, guys, there are changes in domain one, in domain two, and in domain three, only one DevSecOps topic has been added. In domain four, also there is a only one topic, log management. The majority of change which you will see, the majority of change are there in a domain five. Okay. Apart from domain five, like in other domain, they have added very few topics. For example, in domain one, they have added a topic related to AI and ML. Okay. In domain two, they have added a topic related to data privacy. In domain three, like there are no major changes, only one change, that is a DevSecOps, correct? So only one topic has been added there. In domain four also, they have just added a log management topic, okay, and shadow IT also. In domain 5, if you will see, there are a lot of changes. So they have introduced a lot of technologies, okay, based on the current environment which company have started using. So they have added a new technology. Okay, so in domain 5 there are major changes, and if you see other domains, in other domain there are not such major changes. Okay, now how we would be going to cover this entire topics, guys? So basically, first we would be starting our discussion with the concept. So I would be explaining you the concept of each the domain one by one by one. And then after explaining you the concept, we would be doing certain MCQs as well on that concept. Okay. So without further delay, guys, now let's start our discussion with domain one. Okay. In domain one, we would be discussing that what are the changes. So let me just open our PPT, and I hope everyone have an access to the shared drive, because I have created one shared drive for the purpose of data sharing. So whatever PPTs that I would be using, or whatever content that I would be using in the class, all that content and PPTs would be uploaded here in your shared drives. Okay, guys. So I hope that everyone have an access to the shared drives. Okay, perfect. So now let's start our discussion with domain one. So in domain one, guys, they have added one topic called as an agile auditing. So there are various types of auditing. In that type, they have added one audit called as an agile auditing. Now before I explain you agile auditing, okay, have you heard this term called as an agile, guys? Do you know what is the meaning of agile? Any one of you?
Yes,
So guys, will
yes,
yeah, we'll try to make these sessions bit interactive. Okay, so it will not be the case where I am only the speaking. Okay, you can also provide your input, and we will make this session a very interactive, so that active participations can be ensured. Okay, so tell me, what is an agile? What is the meaning of
yes.
agile?
So, hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
So, agile auditing means we will do quick auditing without focusing more on documentation part because of the
Okay.
change scenario. If the
Hmm.
scenarios are dynamic, so audit should also cope up with that. So, in that
Perfect.
perspective, this agile auditing has started.
Okay, perfect. So the meaning of agile means what? Ability to move quickly without giving much attention to the paper-based document. That is what is the meaning of agile. You might have heard this term in your domain three as well, correct? There is one
Correct.
methodology of agile development, correct, guys? In
Correct.
domain three, there is one topic called as an agile development. So agile
Yes.
means what? Ability to move quickly without paying attention to the paper based document. That is what the meaning of agile. Now the same concept has also been introduced into the audit. So generally, if I ask you guys how audit works, see, in audit we are first doing the planning, correct? After the planning, the second field would be an execution, where we would be collecting a data, analyzing a data, correct? And then the next phase would be a reporting. So instead of doing this traditional based of an audit, okay, what they will do, that when they are doing the planning, at the time of planning itself, okay, they will start a bit execution as well. Suppose you are doing your audit planning is not yet completed, but you have initiated the data request, you have sent the data request, you started collecting a data, and you started reviewing that data. So that means what we are doing, we are doing the agile audit. So the goal of agile audit is what? To provide a faster and efficient way to conduct your IS audit. The main objective of agile audit is to what? To provide a faster and more efficient way to conduct an IS audit and to demonstrate the value provided to the stakeholders. Okay. So in the context of IS audit, okay, this would result into a blurring or altogether abolishing eh, uh, altogether abolishing the temporal separations between the planning and the field work. Okay, so basically what it is saying, that we are not doing the separate planning or separate field work, we are doing that together so that we can conduct our audit in effective and efficient manner. The benefit of agile auditing is what? It will reduce the end to end planning, it will streamline your audit engagement. It is flexible audit scope. Now, this is also very important part of agile auditing. So, guys, how we are doing the audit planning? Can you please tell me? So, suppose if you are an auditor, or suppose if you are a company, you want to conduct your audit. So, basically, how will you do the audit planning? What is the step by step process to do the audit planning or to prepare the audit calendar? Suppose I am an organization and I want to prepare my audit calendar. How would I prepare my audit calendar? What is the step by step process?
We
Okay.
look into the audit universe, means all the
Okay.
inventories that are there.
Perfect. Audit universe. Then next.
Then we look into the risk assessment of that.
Perfect. We'll do a risk assessment. Who will do this task? Head of internal audit. Correct.
Yes.
He will do this task. Next is what?
Based on that, the high rate, I mean the assets which are on the higher risk, we'll select
Hmm.
that asset first.
We'll select that asset. So we'll prepare and propose the audit calendar to which committee?
To
To
the
the
audit
perfect
committee.
audit committee. So they will review, they will approve that audit calendar. Then approved calendar goes to which
To the
it will go to the board
board
of
of
Board of
directors.
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 A board of director will approve the same, and finally it will be issued as a audit announcement. Correct. This is a
Yes.
process. This is the
Yes.
process to prepare your audit calendar. So as a part of agile auditing, what they are saying, that there can be a frequent audit plan updates as well. So the plan or the calendar which you are preparing at the start of a year, this plan can be frequently updated based on a new risk. For example, suppose in India as of now, the government has not finalized the DPDP rules, correct? It is still in a process. But suppose once it becomes finalized and you have to conduct a data privacy audit as per this law, then accordingly you need to change your audit calendars as well. Correct. So basically, that is also a very important aspect of agile auditing, where we will keep our audit scope a bit flexible based on the current market need, based on the changes into the environment, based on the changes into the regulatory environment. We incorporate those changes into the audit scope or audit plan so that audit can be conducted in more efficient manner. So that is what the agile auditing. Okay, guys. So any query, any doubt related to agile auditing, you can ask. Otherwise, we can move to the next topic. This is clear. Agile auditing is clear.
Yes, Sachin.
Perfect. Now, next is, guys, artificial intelligence and a machine learning. So they have added one topic related to AI ML in auditing. So what is the role of IT auditor in the space of artificial intelligence and machine learning? Now, before we discuss this topic, first let me explain you what is the meaning of artificial intelligence. So basically, guys, artificial intelligence means what? Artificial intelligence focuses on what? Focuses on creating a system or machine. Okay, as a part of artificial intelligence, we will focus on creating a system or machine that perform a task which typically requires a human intelligence. Correct, guys? As a part of artificial intelligence, what we are doing, we are trying to develop a system or any machine which can act like a human. Correct, which can act like a human. That is what is called as a AI. Similarly, guys, there is one more terminology called as a machine learning. Now, what is a machine learning? Machine learning is a subset of AI. What is a machine learning? Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. As a part of machine learning, what we are doing, guys, we are developing a technique or algorithm. As a part of machine learning, our focus is to develop such a technique or a algorithm which allow a computer to learn and make certain predictions. For example, guys, this is a very basic example. You might have seen that on a YouTube or on any other this platform like a Netflix or whatever, Hotstar. Once you are watching some content, based on that content, it is giving you certain recommendations. Correct? It is giving you certain recommendations. So that is what, that is an example of machine learning, where we have provided some data to machine. He is analyzing your data, and after that analysis of the data, he is giving you certain predictions that okay, if you have watched this, you may like this content as well. So this is an machine learning, and whereas the artificial refers to the entire systems or machine. Okay, the example of artificial intelligence may include your Google Assistant, nowadays Chat GPT. Everyone is using a Chat GPT. And in the hospital industries, you might see certain expert systems are being used for the purpose of diagnosing, for the purpose of identifying that what kind of disease will be there and all. Correct? So that is what the meaning of AI and ML. And now we would be discussing this AI and use of AI and ML in the field of auditing. Okay, in the field of auditing, what is the use of this AI and ML? So nowadays, guys, you might have heard about one more terminology which is very, very popular in the market, called as an RPA. Have you heard about this term, guys? RPA, robotic
Yes.
process automation.
Yes.
Correct? Robotic process automation. So as a part of RPA, what companies are trying to do, guys? Can you tell me what they are trying to achieve with the help of this RPA tool?
Yeah, Sachin. So
Automating
basically,
the
they just try
day-to-day
to automate the
activities.
routine processes.
Perfect. They are trying to automate the routine day-to-day processes which has been done by the auditor. For example, suppose you are an auditor. As a part of your audit, you are doing certain tasks. For example, you are verifying whether the user has been created after the necessary approvals or not. We are verifying whether the user access review has been performed or not performed. We are verifying whether the user who have left a company still have a right in the applications or not. So there are certain checks which we are performing. Now, as a part of RPA tool, what companies are trying to do, they are trying to automate those tasks. So whatever analysis that you are performing manually, instead of manual analysis, what they will do, they will create their own tool, and that tool will be used to perform that analysis. That is called as an RPA. Now, suppose if organizations are using this RPA tool in day-to-day auditing work, can you tell me what would be the advantage of the same? Suppose instead of a manual analysis, you started using the tool. So what is an advantage of this? Can you tell me what is an advantage of this?
Increase in integrity and accuracy of data.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah,
One point is what?
it's
It increases the
time
accuracy and yeah,
time
yeah, tell me. Time
time
utilization.
utilization.
Okay, perfect. What else? What else can be the advantage of using a technology in the
Also,
Yeah.
certain
audit?
data integrity can be maintained, so like manipulation of data can be avoided.
Perfect. Data integrity can be maintained because most of the RPA tool would be having a feature where they can directly extract the data from the application or tool. Guys, if you're not speaking, please mute because some background noise is there. When you are speaking, you can unmute and then you keep on mute. Okay. So yeah, this is also a perfect advantage, Rohit. What Rohit is saying, that if we will use the RPA tool, it would also result into the data integrity. Okay. What else?
Also,
What
it can
else?
And
identify the high risk areas. I mean, we do not have
Okay.
to look into the entire thing. We can.
Okay. It
If
can identify high risk area. Okay. We can concentrate
Centralized
on other
monitoring.
critical area. Okay. Centralized monitoring. What else?
Also,
Availability
fast
and
processing
complexity.
of data, since it will be automated, so
Hmm.
it can be processed in a faster manner.
Faster
real
processing of a data, real
real
time.
time. Yeah.
Mhm. Perfect, guys. So those are that all points are the advantage of artificial intelligence, use of AI ML in IS audit. So basically, if I summarize what it will result, guys, if we are using the artificial intelligence or machine learning in the auditing, it would result into the increase of overall audit efficiency. Like whatever points you have mentioned, will be able to complete that on a timely manner, increases the accuracy, maintain a data integrity, correct? So basically, if we are using the artificial intelligence or machine learning, so it will increase your overall audit efficiency and it will decreases the audit risk. Now can you tell me, guys, what do you understand from a term called as an audit risk? What is an audit risk? What is an audit risk? You might have read it this in domain.
The risk which is
There is some echo, Avijit.
So it is
What
a
is an
risk
audit?
which is, I mean, it is a risk which is involved in as a part of auditing. So auditor is not looking into entire population, right? He is actually sampling it
Hmm.
out. So he may
Hmm.
miss the things.
Hmm. Okay. In other word, what we
So
can
it will
say.
be a
Yeah.
risk that even the auditor strategies will not be able to identify few of the you know uh,
Risk which are
errors
there
or
in
the
the
fraud.
environment. Perfect.
Yeah.
Error, correct. So even after performing an audit, there are a few chances that error or risk may not be identified during the course of audit. That is what is an audit risk. Now audit risk is influenced by three risks, guys: inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk, correct? Inherent risk is also known as a gross risk, which is there in the environment. Control risk refers to a risk where the control implemented by the company, those controls are ineffective. Okay, so any risk which has been arise because of this, it is called as a control risk. And detection risk refers to a situation where the audit procedures that is applied by the auditor, those audit procedures are unable to detect the error. So these are the three main component of an audit risk. Audit risk will be calculated with the help of a formula: IR multiplied by CR multiply by the DR. So suppose if we are using the RPA tool in the auditing, it will help us to decrease the audit risk, because now with the help of RPA tool you can perform your analysis on the population rather than going for a sample. You can perform the analysis on the population. The more population you will select, okay, the more sample you will select, it will decrease the audit risk, correct? So what it is trying to say here, that if you are using an EIM ML technique, it will increase your audit efficiencies and it will decrease the audit risk. Similarly, how it will increase the audit efficiency, guys, because with the help of this tool we can automate certain tedious manual processes. Okay, there are a lot of processes, there are a lot of control validation that we are doing manually. So if this tool is being used, so we can automate that task, which will result into the overall audit efficiency. Similarly, how it will decrease your audit risk, guys, with the help of this tool we can increase our audit sample size. Okay, and it will provide auditor with more time and information to analyze the audit test results, correct? So this is how it can decreases the audit risk. So this is about the use of AI in the IS audit. Now in all the AI tool, guys, you will uh, see this terminology called as an NLP, natural language processing. Now, NLP is nothing but it is a brain of AI. What is an NLP? It is a brain of artificial intelligence. So, whatever AI system those that are being built, those systems are built using an NLP only. Okay, so in this, like the logics would be there, the programming language and all those things are taken care by the NLP. So you should know this terminology as well. Now, guys, we would be discussing about the role of this RPA and AI in the entire audit life cycle. So, for example, we have discussed that how the audit works. So first phase would be the planning, the second phase would be the field work, and the third phase would be the reporting. So in each the steps, how an RPA tool can automate the task and how a RPA tool can help the auditor. Okay. So this we would be discussing here. Okay. Before we discuss this, guys, do you know any RPA tools which are there in the market? Like, have you
UiPath,
Blue,
worked? Yeah.
Blue
Yeah.
UiPath,
Prism and UiPath.
UiPath, very popular tool. Correct.
Blue Prism,
Yeah, Blue Prism is also there. Apart from this,
Microsoft
apart
Automate.
from yeah, Automate, Microsoft Automate. Apart from this, guys, if you will see, all the big fours have their own proprietary RPA tool. There are some more RPA tool. I don't know whether you have heard about this or not.
SAP is
Automation
having
Edge. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So nowadays every even a consulting firm also, they are having their own they are creating their own RPA tool. Okay, so let me just explain you the functioning of RPA tool, guys. See, all this, like whatever UI path, if you are using, if you are using a tool of Automation Edge or any other company for the sake of name. Okay, let me just help you that how those RPA tools work. What is their fundamental, way of working? Okay, so in this RPA tool, guys, first you would see that they would create one collector bot. Okay, first, there would be one collector bot. What collector bot will do, guys? Collector bot will collect the data from the variety of the sources or applications, whatever you integrate. Okay. So here we are taking one example, guys. For example, you want to do one task. What task you want to do? You want to reconcile the users which are there in the HR data versus the users which are there in SAP or any other application. You want to do that user reconciliation process. You want to identify, is there any user who have left a company but still they're in a company? So now what your collector bot would be doing, collector bot will fetch the data from both this application. Okay. After fetching a data, there would be one analyzer bot. Okay. In analyzer bot, what company would be doing? The company would define a logic. Okay. They will build a logic in the analyzer bot. Now, to build this particular bot, every company will use their own language. For example, few companies would be writing a queries in the SQL. Few would be using a Python, whatever, like, whatever languages that they are using, they will use that language to build the logic. Okay. So the logic would be built and the bot will analyze the data based on the logic. So suppose you have built a logic here that you need to compare the email ID of both the data. So it will compare the email ID. Suppose if you give one more identifier, you also need to check the date when the user have left. Okay, or the date when the ID was deactivated. Suppose if you are doing another working, so whatever working you are doing, you have to create the bot for the same, and you will use certain languages. So that will be done by your analyzer bot. So this is a very important bot basically now, because whatever outcome that will come based on the analyzer bot only. Then there would be one more bot which is called as a reporting bot. Now what reporting bot will do, whatever analyze that is being performed, after the analysis, whatever output is coming, that output would be shown by the reporting bot. So here you can configure the emails ID as well. Suppose you want that this email should be marked to the Mohan or Amit or whatever email ID that is being configured. So that tool will run and that tool will send an email to the respective people. So this is the reporting bot. Now in this process, you can build a scheduler as well. Suppose you want that this particular bot should be executed quarterly. So every quarter it will execute and it will give you the exception or the whatever count of the deviation. So this is how the RPA tools works, guys. Basically collect the data, analyze the data, and show you the exceptions or the deviations. Okay. Now we would be discussing about the this RPAs and AI tools use in our entire audit life cycle. So for example, our first phase is what? First phase is a planning. Okay. Our audit's first phase is what? planning. Can you tell me guys what we are doing in the planning phase? As an auditor, what we are doing in the planning phase? Can you tell me what we are doing in the planning phase?
Identifying the scope of the audit.
Okay, scope of the audit we are identifying. Then
Audit
The
universe, which area we'll look into it, which assets will we look into it.
okay, refer to the audit universe. We'll try to understand what are the controls we need to verify and all. What else?
then
Risk
risk
analysis.
classification and key and non-key identification of key controls and non-key controls.
Perfect. We'll try to see, we'll do our risk assessment, risk analysis, see what are the key controls, what are the non-key controls. Similarly, guys, we will try to understand the business, correct?
Yes.
What they are doing, and what is their applicable regulatory requirements and all that we are trying to do. So this is what we do generally as a part of audit planning phase, correct? Allocation of audit team according to the scope. Perfect answer, Manjuna. This is also we will do. Now, guys, how an RPA tools can use the auditor in the planning phase? How they can use the auditors in the planning phase that is being given here. Now, guys, what you can do with the help of your RPA tool, do you know that this tool also provides you a feature? For example, I want to do one audit, and for that audit, the regulator have issued a circular. Now, I want a tool to read the circular, okay, and after reading the circular, he will provide me the detailed checklist that based on this circular, you have to review this 20 points, you have to review that 50 points. So that can also be done with the help of RPA tool. Okay. RPA tool
You
can read. Yeah.
sorry, OCR we will create in the RPA tool, I believe. Wrote that.
Yes.
If it is in the
OCR would,
PDF, yeah.
yeah, no, OCR would be required, Manjunath, if the data is in the image
Morning.
format. Okay. If it is in the image format, then only the OCR would require. If PDFs are there,
Okay.
they can then maybe it can read the metadata of the PDF and then it
Okay.
can
Sorry.
create the checklist. Okay. So what I'm saying is that circulars, okay, those can be readed by your tools, and that tool can give you the detailed checklist or maybe a questionnaire. Okay. There are some, more advanced RPA tool, so they have a feature to prepare the RCMs as well. Okay. Based on the checklist, based on the data, they can also populate the risk and the controls. So this also is a use of an RPA. Similarly, guys, what you can do is, for example, company would provide you policies and procedures when you are starting your audit. At that time, company will provide you the policies and procedure. Based on the policies and procedures, we are identifying certain key controls. For example, in case of user access management, we see that what is a review frequency, how frequently they are doing the review. We are seeing that what is their approval mechanisms, correct? So with the help of RPA tool, you can analyze those documents as well. Your SOPs, your policies, correct? You can perform your keywords analysis. You will see whether the policy is including this or not. If you want to compare two documents, okay, or if you want to see that, okay, what are the changes in these two documents. So that kind of work you can do with the help of RPA tool. So this tool will help you in the planning. Okay. How it will help you in the planning? The various examples we have discussed, correct? Read view for the similar audits and comparable business functions and audit types. Suppose if you want to compare two different audit results, you can do that as well. You can prepare an automatic generated checklist. You can analyze the heavy word policies and the procedures. Okay, you can do some keywords analysis as well. So this is the use of RPA in a planning. Now, in the field work, we have already discussed one example how the RPA tool can do the field work. Here you can see, for example, I want to do this task. So this is my actual field work where I'm analyzing a data, correct? So this can also be done with the help of RPA tool. In a field work also, they can help you in terms of doing the data analysis, doing the testing on the data, correct? Doing checking the test of effectiveness, correct? So they can do. Similarly, guys, there are certain tools which will also help you to select the appropriate samples. For example, during the field works, I need to select an appropriate sample based on the population. So the one way of doing it, what I would be doing it manually with the help of analysis and all. And the another way of doing it, what that I can insert that population into the RPA tool. In the RPA tool, I would be defining a logic. I would define certain risk indicators. Based on that risk indicator, it will analyze the data and it will give me the samples that I need to audit or I need to check. Correct. So that also can be done with the help of RPA tool. Similarly, guys, this tool will also help you a lot in the reporting phase. Okay. We are using those tools since very long. Those who are from a VAPT background, guys, when we were conducting a VAPTs and all, we are using a Nessus tool for the same. Now in a Nessus tool, what we need to do is we just need to give the target IP, and that tool will perform the scanning, and also the tool will generate a report for me. Report will include everything like a details of everything, a detailed observations, what was the risk, what was the recommendations, okay, and how to plug in the same, what was the observation heading, the severities and everything. So even the reports can be generated like this. I'm talking specifically from the VAPT audit perspective, but in a normal audit also, suppose when you have prepared your detailed audit report, now based on a detailed audit report, suppose if you want to prepare the executive summary, so you can use this tool to prepare an executive summary. You just provide a detailed audit report words, and then it will analyze your reports and it will give you the executive summaries, correct? So what I'm trying to tell you here is that these tools can be used in each and every phase of an audit. And so that is why it is important for us to understand that how we can use these tools optimizely in the optimized manner to conduct our audit in efficient and the effective manner. Okay. So this is about role of RPA and AI in audit lifecycle. Any query, any doubt you can ask. Any query, any doubt you can ask.
So you mean to say we need to get trained on the RPA and everything? We need
Yeah,
to
yeah. It
upgrade
is better.
ourselves.
It is better, Mohan. So suppose if you want to do your audit more effectively or efficiently, so as an auditor nowadays, you should understand the use of RPA and AI tool so that you can, conduct your audit effectively or efficiently. So maybe you can take a,
Because
yeah.
again, A- because okay, RPA we can, but AI again it is a vast, especially any specific areas in AI we need to focus. Like
Yeah, so we are discussing it from the auditing perspective, Mohan. Okay, from the auditing perspective, whatever tools would be there, maybe you can use your tools. So, and at least we should understand that, okay, this many AI tools are there. What are the risks associated with the use of AI tool? As an auditor, we should understand those risks. And when we do the audit also, we need to figure out the specific risk in this area. Okay. Okay, clear? Yeah.
Very high level that everything is done by this RPA tool, like planning, execution, report writing, and everything is done through
Correct.
these tools, right? So I'm just putting an example that you are hiring me as an internal auditor, and
Mhm.
your company is also having this tool. So what
Hmm.
is the benefit from your side?
Your voice is breaking. So what you're saying after you have an RPA tool, then what next?
So what I think is the benefit of having an auditor in the company then? Because
Your
everything is
voice is breaking, Syed. What about others, guys? Are you able to hear, Syed?
No, it's breaking.
no,
no.
Sachin. No.
Okay. Syed, can you come again, please? Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
No, no. Still, your voice is breaking.
Okay.
Can you try again, Syed? One more time.
Uh,
What is the benefit of having an IA in a company? See, guys, Sayan, even if you having a tool, this tool cannot be used without the human. So we cannot say that since RPAs are there, there is no need of a human being. Still, you will require a human, okay, to understand or to, for example, this is my RPA tool. Now in this RPA tool, I have to build a logic, correct? And this logic will not remain universal. Sometimes, suppose if there is a change in a data, or suppose if there are any other changes into the environment, accordingly, again, logic needs to be revised, correct? So you will still require a human auditor to perform the audit. Like we cannot say that since RPAs are there in the market, there is no need of an auditor, because sometime what happens that there is one term called as a EI bias. Sometimes the results which are collected from the AI tool or RPA tool, that tool may be biased. So it is very important for us to make sure that human intervention is there. There has to be some human who will validate the results which is being processed by these tools are free from AI biasness. Like we will discuss that topic in upcoming slides as well, that what is the use of AIML tool, and how as a auditor we need to process the results which are being generated from an AI tool. We'll discuss that. Three slides are there in the upcoming
More thing.
discussion. Yeah.
Hi, hi, Sachin. I just wanted to add something here, but like you said that you will be discussing. I just wanted to share an example that I
Yeah, yeah.
experienced at my workplace. So we'll
Perfect.
discuss, like you said, later.
No problem, Nivedita. So when it will come, you please
Yeah,
put that
yeah,
example so that
yeah,
it will help the others also. Okay.
yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. Now, guys, we'll discuss certain AI/ML techniques which are there in the market and which will help you in automate certain tasks. So, first discussion here is a document classification. So nowadays, guys, you might have seen in your organizations as well that there is a data classification policy. Correct, guys? There is a data
Yes.
classification policy. Now, as
Yes.
per data classification policy, all the users are advised to do the classification, correct, guys? And what are the classification label which you have seen?
Confidential. Confidential.
Confidential, correct? Confidentials, then
Internal.
internal,
Sensitive.
Public.
sensitive, external, public, sensitive, correct? Likewise, there are certain classification label. Now, company will prepare a policy and they will ask the user to do the appropriate classification based on the policy. Correct? Now, how this classifications can be done, guys? This can be done using two methods. One is a manual, correct? Manually, user would be doing a classification. And in some company, there are some tools, correct? There are
Yes.
certain tools which are used for the classification. So, for
Yes.
example, guys, have you come across any tools? Have you come across
O365
any
is one of them. Office 365.
0365? Yeah.
And Microsoft
They
has launched a new product called as Microsoft Purview.
purview.
PURVIW. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It has got that.
Similarly, there is Azure's EIP, Azure Information Protections tool, correct? So I will just show you guys that will give you better idea that how those tools will look like and how these tools will help you to do the data classification. Okay. For example, yeah, suppose if I am using a tool, then what will happen? Whenever I will open any document, okay, it will ask me to choose the appropriate classification label. The document which I have created is an internal, personal, external, or confidential, correct? Now user have to choose that. Okay. And if it is a manual, then generally what will happen, you will see that in the header or footer, user will write that whether this is a public document, okay, or whether this is a confidential, or whether that is an internal document. So this is how we are doing the data classification. Now, this data classification tools plays a very important role in the DLP implementations as well, because as per the severity, as per the criticality of the data, we will protect that data, correct? In a DLP also, we will define the certain DLP rule sets. Okay, based on that DLP rule sets, we will try to protect the data. Now, in this case, there is one risk. For example, I am the user. Okay, I have created one document. That document includes the PII SPI data of the customer. PII stands for personal identical information, okay, or sensitive personal information. And like the document contains the PII SPI data, but still I have classified that document as a public. So that means what I have done, I have wrongly classified the document. Because for example, suppose if I want to send this document out of a company and all, so there are a few cases where users are wrongly classify a document. So in a market there are some automatic data classifications tool are also there. In the automatic data classification tool, you can define certain keywords. If your document will contain those keywords, that document will be classified automatically. Okay, for example, if your document contains the PISPA data, it will be classified as a confidential. Now user cannot degrade the classification. If user want to upgrade the same, user can upgrade, but they cannot degrade the data classification. So those kind of tools are also there. Okay, document classification tool, which will assign the appropriate classification to the document based on the text. Okay, based on the text. So these tools are also there. Like the existing tool have a now feature of doing an automatic classifications also. Okay, so this is a one point. Now, second is a text summarization. What is the meaning of text summarization? Who is the owner of data classification policy? So Sayed, generally this policy, data classification policy, is owned by the IS team, information security team, okay, headed by CISO. And as per the classification policy, this policy needs to be followed by the end users. For example, if this is my data classification policy, in the data classification policy, I will clearly mention that all the whosoever is the owner of that information owner has to classify the data based on the sensitivity. Okay. There is some background noise, guys, so maybe you can mute yourself if you are not speaking. Okay, clear? Sayed, this is clear to you?
Such just
This
a
is
question
clear.
out here, like now since the DPDP has been implemented, won't the data protection officer will be in charge of these policies?
Uh, yeah, after DPDP Act, okay, the primary responsibility may be given to the data privacy. But see, DPO will come into the picture when the the PIA, SPI data and all are being involved, correct? Because DPO will come into the picture whenever there is an involvement of PIA, SPI data. But when I say a document classification, it includes all the data, including PIA, SPI. Now, for example, if I talk about a financial statement, now unreleased financial statements are also very confidential document, correct? Now we cannot held accountable for this particular data to the data privacy officer, because privacy officer is mainly concerned related to this data where personal informations are being involved. Okay. Overall, the data classifications ownership generally being assigned to the CISO of a company. Okay. And then the responsibilities are also assigned to the individual information owner who are creating a document. Okay. Clear, guys? This is clear. Rohit and Sayed, both of you. Clear?
Yes, Sachin, we can proceed.
Perfect. Now, next is a text summarization, guys. As the name suggests, what text summarization will do? It will summarize your text. So, as we discussed earlier, for example, this is my detailed report. Based on a detailed report, I want to create a summary. I can do the same. Suppose there is a heavy SOP. So based on that SOP analysis, suppose I want to create some checklist. So that text summarizations is also very much possible with the help of AI ML tool. Okay. The next is a topic analysis. Now this is very interesting, guys. Have you heard about this technique called as a topic analysis? How we can do the topic analysis using AI ML tool? Have you heard about this technique? Topic analysis. Any one of you? No? Okay.
No.
Let me explain you. For example, guys, I will give you one example here. Suppose you are a help desk company, okay, and every day like your customers would be raising certain concern, they would be raising some issue, correct, in the help desk, so they would be raising some ticket. Now as a company you want to see that those tickets are related to what, for example, whether users are facing issue in the onboarding process, whether they are facing the issue in the services, correct. So with the help of topic analysis, what we can do, we can identify the unique topic based on the populations, correct. So we will create certain headings. Suppose if your complaint includes this keyword, then it will be routed to this area, correct. So in a topic analysis, what happens, analysis is performed across a document or group of document or a document text to identify a unique topic that is linked to a document or section of document. If you just have a bunch of text and want to figure out what topic this text covers, then you would be using a topic analysis. This is generally being used, like I've given you one example here, correct, for the purpose of classifying appropriate concerns and issues we are doing. And similarly, guys, in a customer care also, when we are connecting, they are asking that whether you want to, whether you have a query related to your account, whether you have a query related to your surveys, correct. So they are providing us a different topics, and then we are selecting one of a topic, and then the resolutions has been provided to the users, correct. So this is a use of topic analysis. They can, process the heavy text or data, and based on that it can identify the appropriate and suitable topic, and it will help you to figure out to us, like to figure out that what that text contains. Out of this 100 text or 100 tickets, which are the main issues that company need to address in the future. Okay, so topic analysis is clear, guys. Yeah, somebody has raised the hand, tell me.
Yeah, Sachin.
Somebody.
Sachin, so can we say that this topic analysis is a kind of content-based filtering?
Content based filtering, yeah, but the terminology is bit different, Ramesh. Content based
Yeah.
filtering, generally we are using in a DLP, okay, for the purpose of
Okay.
restrictions. So if it is a content based filtering, what will happen, for example, you have done a content based filtering that any document which contains the driving license number, that needs to be blocked. So what it will do, first, he will read the content, he will identify whether there is anything related to DL, and then accordingly. You may say, but the name terminologies are a bit different, correct? This is
Okay.
mainly being used in the DLP to create a rule sets, content-based filtering. Okay,
Okay. Okay. Fine.
clear? This is clear. Now, next is sentiment analysis. Again, interesting topic, guys. Have you heard about this sentiment analysis?
It actually
No.
analyzes the text, how it has been
Okay.
written. For example, I'm just taking example, and then it will,
Yeah,
based on the pattern, it will recognize the tonality and give you whether what is the tone of writing the text.
perfect explanation, Amit. Okay. So what sentiment analysis will do, guys? Okay. It will use again the NLP. So this is also one of an AI tool only. What it will do, it will train a computer software to understand the text in a way similar to the human. Okay. So whatever is written, okay, in the text, it will read the same. Then based on the reading of that text, it will analyze whether this text is positive for me, whether this is a negative for me, or whether this is a neutral. So likewise, it will do the analysis. Now, when companies are doing a sentiment analysis, guys, for example, I want to launch a new product, or suppose I have already launched a new product. After launching a product, what I will do, I will analyze my social media, like all the social media post and all. And based on that analysis, I want to see what is an impact, whether it is a positive, whether it is negative. So for that, I would be doing a sentiment analysis. For this also, like there are a lot of vendors in the market, like the popular one may be like, there is one vendor called as a Sentio. Okay. So yeah, these companies are there. So who are providing this kind of services. where they will see all the, like, they will collect the data from the variety of sources, from the social media, from the press release, from whatever you will provide them and whatever you ask them. So it will analyze your data and text, and based on which it will tell you that what is an impact of that decision, whether it is a negative, positive, or neutral. Okay. So this is a sentiment analysis. If you want to read a case study, so Nike have also used this particular analysis in 2018, and based on that they have improved, done a lot of improvement in their products also. Okay, so this is a sentiment analysis. Now next is statistical analysis. This you and me are using in day to day life. Like suppose if you are using an RPA tool, so we use a certain AIML tool which can have a capability of a statistical analysis. What it will do, it will analyze the data, whatever data that you are providing. Based on that analysis, it will try to identify the trend and pattern, and to discover if there are any fraud in the data or not. Okay, so that kind of statistical analysis are also being performed using AI and ML tool. Now, next is search and retrieval. Now, this facility you will find in your emails as well. What it will do, guys, for example, I want to search one email, okay, or I want to search one document which contains the particular keyword, whatever keyword I am writing. For example, I'm writing CISA exam. So I want to search all the emails in the body also, or in the attachment also, wherever the CISA exam word is written. I want to see all that document. So you can use that search and retrieval technique. What it will do, it will process the entire database or repository, okay, to identify and to retrieve the relevant documents that is aligned with the topic or theme that you have entered into a search criteria. Correct. In an email also we have one search bar. In the search bar we can yeah, every, like all Outlook, Gmail, everything. So that facility would be there, that will help us to do the appropriate search, and it will also help us to identify the data from the repositories. Correct. So these are just a brief discussion about AI ML techniques, guys. These are some of the example of AI ML techniques. So if you have any doubt or any query in the same, please let me know. Please let me know. Is it clear? Is it clear, guys? Everyone?
So, Sachin,
Yeah.
hi Sachin. Sachin, the idea behind understanding these examples is to have a knowledge of how AI is being used, how an
Perfect.
auditor can use these techniques in day-to-day activities throughout the audit cycle, planning
Perfect.
for reporting and okay. Thank you.
Perfect. That is what the main objective of this particular topic. Okay. Now, guys, we would be also discussing about audit algorithm. Then we'll discuss how to interpret the AIML result. Okay. Now, before we discuss audit algorithm topic, do you know, guys, what is the meaning of algorithm? Can you tell me what do you understand from a term called as an algorithm? What is an algorithm? What is an algorithm, guys? Tell me.
A set of
It's a
logic.
yeah.
Set of logic. Okay. Set of logic for what?
Set of logics, calculations, and all these things.
It is a program which involves what actions to be taken. I mean, analytical part of it.
Program
Yeah,
that what actions
program
can
with if else and all those
Yeah,
conditions.
yeah, conditions.
conditions. Okay. Somebody is asking me uh, how CISA can put a questions from this domain. So we'll see, Syed. I will be, we will also do certain question and answer based on this topic. So we will see what kind of questions can come from the topic. Okay. Set of logic, set of program that can be called as an algorithm. Okay. So guys, algorithm means what? Algorithms are a concept that are often associated with some mathematical or computer science, which can make them seem intimidating and difficult to understand. I will give you just one example for algorithm. Guys, have you heard about this term called as a hashing? Have you heard about a hashing? Tell me, yes or no? Have you heard about this term, guys? Hash,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
correct?
Satya.
We are doing an hashing. Now, for the purpose of hashing also, there are a lot of algorithms which we are using. For example, for the encryptions also we use an algorithm. So what the algorithm will do, for example, this is my normal text. This is Sachin. I have converted this text into the hash value. Now he is telling me, Sachin, for this, I have used an MD2 algorithm. Okay. In this output, I have used the MD4. In this output, I have used the MD5. Then I will say that up to MD5, this hashing algorithms are being weaked because somebody has already cracked that how this text are being derived. Correct. For example, what was the normal text? Normal text was Sachin. So based on certain mathematical calculation, they have derived this value. So somebody have already understood those logic and somebody have already cracked that formula. So suppose if you use MD5 or MD4 or MD2, anyone can get the original or value out of it. So this is a weak hashing algorithm. Correct? This is a weak hashing algorithm. So similarly, guys, as an auditor, whenever companies are using any algorithm, we need to understand whether those algorithms are appropriate or not, whether that algorithms are strong or not. Okay, so we need to understand that. For this particular purpose, even if you will see in the market, there are some companies or there are some consulting firm who are providing the services of algo audit, algorithm assurance. For example, to build an application, if you have used a certain algorithm and you want to take an assurance that whether those algorithms are secure or not, so you can initiate that audit, algorithm assurance, algo assurance audit. Okay, like big all the big fours and all, they are providing a consultancy specifically to this. Now in a general terminology, as an auditor, what I can say that as an auditor, you should have a some kind of knowledge to understand what kind of an algorithms are company using, whether those algorithms are built properly, whether those are secured or not secured. So that kind of basic fundamental knowledge we should have when we are doing the audit. Okay, now in this, like what we would be doing to conduct an audit, so we will obtain as is, and as should be the version. For example, this is a normal text and this is a converted text. Okay, now we will perform whatever operation needed to enable the comparison. Now we will try to see, suppose if this algorithms has been built and this algorithm is processing data in a this manner. This was the normal text and this is the final outcome. So is there any way through which a hacker can also get the original value out of this data? So we will try to figure out that and we will try to do the comparison of the algorithm that company have used, and then based on that comparison, if we have any if we are having any findings, or if we have any point for an improvement where we can say that okay, you have to do a bit change in your algorithm because it is a weak, anyone can reverse the same. So that kind of audit procedures we need to apply when we are doing the audit of an algorithm. Correct, we need to pose a relevant questions, and we'll also try to use certain tools who can verify those algorithms and who can identify the weaknesses in the same. Correct. So this is about an auditing the algorithms. Okay, any query, any doubt here, guys? Any query, any doubt?
Hi Sachin, Tarang, yes. So just
Yeah,
wanted to
Taran.
know this part will cover how to audit an algorithm, or it is just referring that algorithms which can be used as a part of audit.
Yeah, so basically in this as an auditor we should understand how we can do the audit of algorithm. Okay, now to do the detailed audit of algorithm obviously will require a technical knowledge. Okay, The one who is from a technical background, who can understand the code, who can understand the technology, they would be the subject matter expert. But as a normal IS auditor or as a normal IT auditor, you should be having a some kind of an operational knowledge to do the audit of an algorithm, to just to make sure, just to understand whether those are secure or not secure on a high level at least.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other query, guys? Any other doubt related to this? Perfect, guys. Now, next is what interpretations of AI ML result. Like, previously Syed has mentioned that Sachin, if you are using this, if you are using this AIML or RPA tools, do we still require a human? Yes, guys, obviously, because interpretations of that results has to be done by the person only, correct? And those tools are useless, I would say, if the logic is not built properly. Okay. Suppose if you are using any XYZ RPA tool, in that RPA tool, if you have not built logic properly, then whatever analysis that is being performed using that tool, that analysis or that outcome would not be very, very useful because this logic was incorrect. Correct. So it is very important that the logic is being correct, and whatever outcome is coming, that outcome also somebody will see, somebody will take a decision based on that outcome. Correct. So that is the reason, guys, for the AIML results, it is very important that there, like it will require a bit of human intervention to interpret those results, and based on that, some conclusions can be drawn. Okay. So this is about an interpretations of your AIML result. Now, when we are doing an audit and when we are using these tools, we should also understand a certain risk which are associated with the use. So, which are associated with the use of AIML tool. For example, guys, suppose I have created my own RPA tool. Okay. Suppose if we have created our own RPA tool, but in RPA tool, when we have built the analyzer bot, we have not considered the various scenario. For example, application can be any application. It can be an SAP, it can be an Oracle, it can be any other ERP application or customized application. So suppose if my tool cannot perform the analysis on certain application, or there are certain application which may not be compatible with my tool, so in that case, what will happen that the outcome which has been derived, that outcome would not be a right. Or for example, suppose if we have not built the logic properly, then also there is a risk that outcome will be incorrect. So it is very important, guys, whenever we are using this tool, we need to make sure that we have done a proper testing. Okay, we have done the proper testing of all the outcomes which has been generated from the tool, and we need to make sure that those results are free from the biasness. Okay, we need to provide an appropriate data, like training data, to feed the algorithms. Okay, that okay, this is the test data. Okay, if you will get this data, then this is how you need to analyze. So that is also very important. Okay, and we just need to make sure that whenever we are using this AI tool, that tool are free from the biasness. Okay, those tools are free from the biasness. It should not be biased result. Okay, it should be free from the biasness. So this also we need to make sure that whenever we are using the AI or ML tool. Okay, Nivedita, now you can put your example, like you were explaining something previously for
Yes,
this.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I wanted to share an example. Our firm, our company has, like, I'm in part of internal audit, and as part of reporting, where at the end of the audit, when we want to know what is the rating that we are giving to the entire audit. So
Okay.
it is basically divided into whether it is satisfactory or whether it is unsatisfactory or whether it requires improvement. So these are the three
Perfect.
ratings. Now,
Perfect.
to calculate, obviously, till up till few years back, we used to do it manually. Then the company introduced a tool which is I think which is an RPA based tool. It is an Excel based tool. It uses macros,
Hmm.
and it gives you. So you have to input certain things, and it gives you an output based on the controls. How you've rated the controls individually, it ultimately gives you whether it is satisfactory or unsatisfactory. Now,
Perfect.
here, our methodology says that it is mandatory to use that tool to
Hmm.
come to a conclusion, but
Perfect.
there has to be an auditor's intervention. Like if
Hmm.
the auditor ultimately thinks that the tool even though tool says satisfactory, but these are all the logics that I can say that it is unsatisfactory, you can go ahead and the tool's result can be over challenged by an auditor's logic. And that was definitely the case in one of my audits where we
Hmm.
could overrule the tool's results.
Perfect. Yeah, this is very true, Nivedita. So sometime what happens, like even for some audit, we are also using a spreadsheet. In the spreadsheet, when you will provide a data, okay, like for example, what was the total population, how many cases there were a deviation, what was the methodology you have adopted. So it will ask for certain fields. And once you
Yeah.
provide that field, it will give you the outcome. For example, now in one of a case, suppose it is giving me non-satisfactory or
Hmm.
needs improvement. But as per my thinking, I feel that no, it is a satisfactory. Then, like I will be very frank, what we try to do, Nivedita, we'll try to change those figures so that outcome can
Mhm.
be derived as satisfactory. So yeah, this is very true.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So
That's true.
yeah,
But this was just to share based on what one of the participants mentioned, that there
correct.
are tools, but ultimately, we do need human involvement for
Perfect.
inputting, outputting, and validating the data. So that
Perfect.
is being done on a regular basis. That's what I wanted to share.
Perfect example, Nivedita. So, any other query, any other doubt, guys, from the session? Yeah, we'll take a break now, Rahman, obviously. Any other query, any other doubt, any other query, doubt? Like we have completed a domain one, guys. Okay. And now you tell me, do you want a break or you want to do some Q&A, and after the Q&A you want a break? Tell me, what should we do? Should we take a break now or should we do Q&A first and then break?
After Q&A, it would be better.
Yeah, after Q&A.
Q&A. Yes, let's do
Yeah.
Q&A.
Perfect. Okay, guys, let's do Q&A and then we will take a break. Okay. So let me just open the slide. Okay. So first question is there on your screen. Tell me the answer. See, guys, those who have not done a class and all, see, guys, in CISA, it is very important that whenever you are reading a question, first try to identify the keyword. Okay. After identifying a keyword, what you need to do is you need to eliminate first the wrong answer. Out of four options, suppose you have eliminated two options. Okay. That those two options are absolutely wrong. Now, whatever two options are remaining, just evaluate those options and read the question once again to see what was the key ask or what was the key point. Okay. And then accordingly give your answer. Okay. Now, in this case, you can provide your answer in a chat as well. How can AI ML enhance the audit efficiency? So they are asking that suppose if you are using an AI ML tool, how it can enhance our audit efficiency. Okay, so a lot of answers are there in chat. Some of like all of you are saying option B. Okay. You'll just understand why it is B and how you have eliminated the other one. Okay, so can you tell me, Anup, how you have answered it as a B and how you have eliminated the other option? ACD.
Yes. And what about you?
Yeah, or you are audible, Anup. Very much.
Yeah. So basically, I also using the elimination technique. So first
Hmm.
option is by replacing auditors with robot. So we are not fully uh, eliminating the auditors here. Okay. So
Perfect.
this is the first one answer, which
Hmm.
we are rejecting. Now, if we see the D1 by focusing solely on rule-based tasks, so this is not fully a rule-based task.
Perfect.
Okay, so I was a little bit confused between B and C, but if you see the B1, C1, it is mentioned by reducing the need of any form of human oversight. Okay, so we
Hmm.
require human oversight. So basically, the answer is going to be B1.
Very good explanation, Anup. So yeah, B is the correct answer. Okay, next question on your screen.
Sachin, sorry, if you could go back, I could
Yeah.
you explain a little about C? A and sorry, not A and C are clearly not the answers, but by
Mhm.
focusing solely on rule-based tasks, like could you
Hmm.
explain this answer a little bit?
Yeah. So basically, here what is written that how a AI ML enhance the efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, in order to enhance the audit efficiency, we will not solely focus on the rule-based task. Okay, that the task has been created for this
Mm-hmm.
task, this rule would be required. Correct. This is not our purpose. Like using our AI ML tool, we don't want to create only a rule-based task. Correct. You want to automate certain task. Correct. We want to streamline our processes. So since it is too much focusing on the this solely on a rule based task, so that is why it is eliminated. Okay. And one more
Okay.
thing,
Yeah.
for the CISA examination, guys. Okay, in CISA examination, it is not about which answer is correct or which answer is wrong. It is not about right and wrong. It is about which one is more right. Okay, or which one is more incorrect. So for example, you will see the terminology like, which one is a better, which one is a most effective, which one is a prime advantage. Correct. So it is not always about right and wrong, it is about which one is better or which one is more right as compared to the other one. So you will see certain kind of this questions also, guys, in the CISA examination. So basically, this is what the beauty of CISA certification. Perfect, guys. Next question on your screen. What is the key advantage of AI/ML over the CAT? So, guys, this you might have read it in the domain one. This terminology, computer or assisted audit technique. So AI/ML is an advanced version of CAT tool. What is this? This is an advanced version of the CAT tool. Okay. Okay. All of you are saying option C. Okay. Can any one of you please explain me why C, why not other? Why C, why not other? Any one of you? Why C,
See,
why not other? Yeah.
A says only okay, it can do only perform a task okay that are explicitly programmed by users. But I
Mm-hmm.
believe AML it is not the case, right? It will learn and it will try to do on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And
Perfect.
and 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 again the second one says AIML model requires no initial training or
Perfect.
guidance, right?
Mm.
But we need to train the AIML, right?
Perfect. Perfect. You're right,
Hmm.
Mohan.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that
The
is why
third, yeah.
the yeah, C, it can learn from a data pattern. C, D is saying less capable for discovering hidden relationship. It is not a case. Okay. See, AI/ML is more capable as compared to CAT tool because it can understand the data. It can draw their own pattern. Correct. It can identify the patterns as well. So definitely it will be advanced version of your CAT tool. Okay. Perfect, guys. Next question on your screen. According to the text, how do AI ML technique help in a reducing the audit risk? With the help of AI tool, we are increasing the audit efficiency and we are reducing the audit risk. Okay. So out of the four option, which option is related to the word audit risk, reducing the audit risk? Which option will help the auditor to reduce the audit risk? Perfect answer, guys. Great. Okay, great. So what about others, guys? We got a few of answers. Perfect, Nivedita. Okay. So all of you are saying option C. Mohan also. Great. Amit, perfect. Perfect. Okay. So yes, the C is a correct answer as we discussed, correct? With the help of AI tool, what we can do the analysis on a larger data or sometime maybe the directly on the population. And if it is performed on the population, it will help the auditor to reduce the overall audit risk. Perfect. Next question on your screen. Next question on your screen. I hope, guys, you might be knowing the cat. Okay. If you have gone through the older syllabus, you will understand this cat. Okay. What is the limitations of traditional cat as mentioned in the text? Because all other options, if you will see, all other options are related to AIML. Perfect. Okay. AIML and cat is a bit, we can say that it would be performing a task based on some preset rules and configurations. Okay, perfect, guys. Next question on your screen. Yeah, it is asking about an agile audit. Okay. We discussed about agile audit. So what is a primary benefit? What is a prime advantage?
To move faster of the agile.
Okay, perfect.
So
Faster
it will be like
response.
quicker results.
Flexible also.
Yeah, flexibility, faster response, increased duration. I believe this I can eliminate. More extensive document not required. Stakeholder involvement would be there, correct? So yeah, obviously answer is B. Okay. Next question on your screen. Which of the following agile practice would be most beneficial in IS audit to provide continuous feedback and the improvement? So, okay, great. All of you are saying option B, expensive upfront planning not
D
required,
also looks similar actually. Sequential task.
regular uh, iterative review adjustment, detailed final report with no interim update. No, not this limit. Sequential task completion without overlap. No, no. This is a traditional audit, Mohan.
Okay, okay,
Sequential
okay,
task
okay.
means what? First we'll do a planning, then
Correct,
execution,
correct. Without
then
overlap.
reporting.
Okay.
So in the agile, there would be some overlapping, correct? We have discussed after planning, we'll immediately start this. So perfect
Exactly.
answer.
I just actually wanted to clarify, Sachin, over there. Like sequential task completion would be like catering to waterfall methodology, right?
Yeah, yeah. So this is more from the auditing perspective. You know, waterfall method we are using in the software development. In software development, also there is
Correct,
a
correct.
terminology called as an agile development. Okay. Now in
Yes.
auditing also they have added this terminology, agile auditing. Okay. So in option D, we can say that this is a traditional method of audit, like an waterfall method. Okay. Clear? This is clear, everyone. Next question on your screen. Next question on your screen. Least likely to occur. Out of four options, when companies are using an agile principle, okay, which of the following would be least likely to occur? So you need to see other options would be like a characteristics, yeah, and the one option would be there which has nothing to do with the agile. Okay. Fixed audit plan with minimal change. No, we have discussed that in case of agile, we will make sure that our audit plan is flexible to incorporate the changes. Perfect answer, guys. C is the correct answer. Okay. So this is all about our domain one questions. Guys, see, after our class also, once our class would be completed, I would be providing you certain more question and answer. Okay, this is just what we are doing in the class, and we'll provide you some more Q&A as well that you can practice after the completion of our classes. For that, like few questions I am still preparing, so it is not yet prepared, but yeah, within a 3-4 days, once those are being prepared, I would be sharing you in your drive also. Okay, clear, guys? This is clear. Can we take a break now? Can we take a
Yes, sir.
break? 10-minute break is fine, guys. 10 minute.
Yeah, I think
10 minute.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's take a break for 10 minutes, then we'll continue. Just give me the confirmation once you are back. Please confirm once you are back. Perfect. Okay. What about others, guys? Back. Great. Now, guys, before we start our further discussion on the domain 2, just wanted to tell you, are you aware about any AI act? Like AI standard also are there in the market, correct? So similarly, are you aware about any AI act which is there in the market? Okay. Any AI act which you have heard?
What is AI Act?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, like there are certain regulatory requirements. For example, for IT related, there is an IT Act, correct? Which will tell us that what is an acceptable use of IT. So, for example, for IS audit, there is an ISO standards, correct? So similarly, for AI also there is an act. Yes, rightly mentioned by Anup. It is an EU AI Act. Okay, so European country, like it is not yet implemented as of now. That it is still in a process. From the year of 2025, they are planning to implement this EU AI Act. Okay, so this act is still in a draft. So they have just finalized a couple of things. As a part of this act, I am just wanted to show you that they have mentioned certain AI categories which fall under the unacceptable risk criteria. So, for example, you cannot build an AI tool which will do the behavioral manipulation or which can be used for exploitations of vulnerable characteristics of a people. So you cannot build certain AI tools, social scoring by public authorities, real time remote biometric identification for law and enforcement. So they have given certain examples which will fall under the unacceptable risk, few AI tool which will fall under the high risk. As a part of this act, they will also mention that suppose if you are building any AI tool or any AI application or system, what are the controls you need to take care? What are the things you need to make sure when developing those tools? So this tool is there. Like as I told you, it is not yet approved by the authorities. Okay, it is still in a draft, and the timelines, I believe, where is the timelines? Let me just show you if it is there. Yeah, this is the timelines. Okay, so by mid of 2025, several obligation to general purpose AI will apply, and from 2026, they are planning to implement this entirely. So EU is the first country who have made this particular AI law. Okay. As of now, we have a best practices. Yes, you are right. Like ISO 42001 is there. Okay, for best practices related to AI in artificial intelligence and all. And similarly, this act is also there. Okay. So just for your knowledge. Okay. Now, we'll discuss the changes in a domain 2, guys. So in domain 2, again, as we discussed in domain 2, they have added a topic related to the data privacy. Okay, so we'll discuss that topic related to data privacy's program and principle. Okay, and before we discuss data privacy, we should know this three key words, or I would say a key terms, which would be very useful. So one is a data subject. The next is a data controller. And the third is what? The third is data processor. Can you tell me, guys, what is the difference between all these three terminology? Any one of you? Data subject means what? Data subject means what?
Subject from which the data has been collected.
Okay. Is the person from whom
Yeah,
the data is
it has
collected.
been
Okay.
collected.
What is
And
controller?
controller will be the person who is collecting the data and creating a repository or something like that.
Okay. Who is a processor?
The
Who
person who
is
uses
process?
that data to
Uses that data, yeah.
process any information or like.
Mhm. See, basically, controller is a person who will define the purpose and the uses of data. For example, guys, now, for example, there is one company called SHN company. SHN company is providing a services related to training. Okay. Now you all are the customer. So you have provided your suppose confidential data like your name or your Aadhaar number or your email address, your PAN number, correct? So you are the data subject, the individual whose data, personal data is being processed. You are a data subject. Who is a data controller? SHN company who is defining the purpose and the uses of data. So I have defined a purpose that I will require your name, email, and Aadhaar number for the purpose of identity verification. So I am the controller of a data. So data controller refers to the entity individual that determine the purpose, uses, or the meaning of data. Now what I have done, I have appointed a third party here. Okay, my entire database or entire this information is being handled by a third party. So I have one dedicated vendor who is helping me with the students onboarding process. So they are processing data on behalf of mine organization. So they would be the data processor. See, data processor doesn't have a right to define the purpose and the uses of a data. They will just do whatever is being directed by the data controller. So I will give them direction that okay, if other data is collected, you need to mask the data. Make sure that other data is not stored in a database. For that, you have to use a other data vault. So I am giving them the instruction, data controller. Okay. So because the data controller is an entity who is responsible for ensuring the processing compliance. Okay. So as a controller, I would be the person who would be responsible, and processor will process data on behalf of my instructions, and accordingly he will implement a control. Okay. Yeah, Mohan, please tell me. You have raised your hand.
Sachin, the best and simple example we can relate to the passport renewals or the new passports, like TCS, we can act them as we can refer
Mhm.
them as the data processor, right? Where they will
Perfect.
do the initial checks and all these things. And
Hmm.
then the Ministry of External Affairs or the Home Ministry, they will sanction the passport, right? Data
Correct.
processor. Simple
Correct.
example.
Correct. Perfect. You are absolutely right. Now, in this case, what you are asking, Rohit, can data controller be the team as well within the organization? See, if you are within the organization, then you will fall under the controller. Controller means entity or a person or individuals who are within there in a company. So if you are within there in the company, you would be a data controller only. Processor means it refers to a third party. Okay. Rohit, is it clear, Rohit?
All right,
How?
Sachin. So like the passport example that you had given. So basically TCS, who is handling the passport in India as of now, so they become like the third party.
Yeah. And airport authority, AAI, is another entity. So they have an agreement with the TCS for the purpose of processing a data. So AAI, Airport Authority of India, would be the data controller, and
Okay,
TCS would be the data processor.
processor.
Both are
All
different entity.
okay,
Okay.
perfect. This is a perfect example. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi
How we
Sachin,
can?
Taranjar. I had one
Yeah, Karan.
query.
Yeah. Please tell me.
Can the data controller be himself or itself a data processor as well,
Yes. Yes.
or it is
Obviously.
necessary to have a third party?
No, no, not necessary. Suppose if you have enough technical capabilities, if you have enough manpower, no need to appoint a processor. Suppose if I'm doing
Okay,
processing in-house, no need to have a data processors, correct? We can do it on our own also. Okay.
thank you.
And how can out this case within a company like HR information. So within a company, then our company would be the data controller. For example, within a company, there is an HR department who is handling our critical PII, SPI data. Correct. So we are a data controller for the same. We need to make sure our employees' data is being protected. Correct. Payroll processing. Yeah. Similarly, whatever information that which is there within a company. So we will implement an appropriate control to protect the data as per the data privacy law. Simple. Okay. Clear. Great. So this is three terminology, and you will see all these three terminologies in upcoming slides as well. So it is very important for us to understand this. Now, guys, let's talk about data privacy programs and principles. Now, basically what happens is this data privacy programs and principle will talk about the personal information. Now, every act will be having some definitions that what will be called as a personal information. Okay. Do you know, guys, how many data privacy acts are there across the world? Across the world, I am asking you. Like generally, you might have heard about GDPR, which is very popular, correct?
HIPAA.
GDP, yeah, HIPAA would be there, but HIPAA is more relevant when we are processing the health information. Okay,
Yes.
when we are processing the health information, that then HIPAA will come into the picture. For personal information, see every
California, something is there for the.
yeah, see every country have their own data privacy law. In India, which law is there, guys? In India, which law is there?
Not us. We are coming up with it.
Yeah, we are
DPD.
coming up with the DPDP Act, correct?
Yeah.
So this is the sheet, guys, as you can see here. In each of the country, they would be having their own data privacy law. For example, in Zimbabwe, there is a Data Protection Act. In US, there is a Privacy Act. Okay, then in European country, you would be seeing a GDPR is there. Ukraine, they have their own act. So every country have their own data privacy act and law. Okay, every country, like almost like I would say, whatever developed countries are there. I don't know about Pakistan and all, but yeah, otherwise, every country have their own data privacy law. Now, in all the data privacy law, what is important that we need to protect the personal informations. Okay. Now that information needs to be protected at a various stages. For example, wherever we are collecting a data, wherever we are processing a data, and wherever we are storing a data, at each the step, we need to protect that information, correct? Collecting, processing, and storing. See, DPDP Act has been finalized, but rules are not yet announced. So it is not made applicable. Okay. The act has been already approved by both the houses. Now, act has been already approved, and the rules are still under a discussion. Once the rules has been approved, it will become, law, and then it would be followed by all the companies. Okay. So yeah, so this is very important for us to understand that what will fall under the personal information. Okay. So that definition will vary regulation to regulation. Okay. Every regulation would be having their own theory for the personal. For example, let me just show you one DPDP Act example itself. Okay. No, this is not. I will open the Bear Act. For example, this is the Bear Act. In the Bear Act, you will see that they have given a definition for personal data, that what will be called as a personal data. Okay. For example, this is a definition of personal data. Personal data means any data about an individual who is identifiable by or in relation to such data. That data will be called as a personal data. For example, my Aadhaar number. With the help of my Aadhaar number, you can identify me. So any data about individual who is identifiable by or in relation to such data, that data will be called as a personal data. So in every law, you will see a more or less same kind of definition, what would be called as a personal information. Now what organization need to do? Organization need to create a privacy management program. Okay, where they would be defining a roles and responsibility of each the key stakeholder, what is their roles and responsibility in relation to the data, how they would be doing a privacy training and awareness whenever they are appointing a data controller like a vendor, then how they would be doing a monitoring of vendors activity, how they would be doing an audit as per the applicable law, and how they will ensure the compliance of that law. So all this information would be included in the organization's privacy management practice or maybe data privacy framework. Okay. Yeah, Rohit, please tell me. You have raised your hand, Rohit.
Yeah, Sachin, just a quick question out here.
Yeah,
Like many of the MNCs are, kind of
already doing.
process. Yeah,
Yeah.
many of the MNCs are actually, processing their personal data overseas. Like the SSN numbers or most of their processes are outsourced. So
Outsource,
will
yeah.
the jurisdiction of their particular country fall upon the data processor?
Yeah. So basically, in this case, we need to see the provision for cross border data transfer. Okay. So in each the data privacy law, you would see one section how they would be handling the cross border data uh, processing. Okay. What are the controls we need to ensure for cross border transactions? So for that also there would be a specific clause in all the data privacy. For example, I will just tell you one example. Sometime what has happened whenever we are using the uh, this payment processors, correct? There are few payment processors who are also having an establishment outside in India. And suppose if you are making a payments in a dollar, so that transaction will also hit the cross-border transfer cases, correct? Now, in this case, RBI have given a requirement that whatever data that is going out of a country, you need to make sure that that particular data is being purged within a 24 hours. Correct. So likewise, there would be a relevant provision in the respective data privacy law that how the cross-border data transfer would be handled. This section you will see in our discussion as well, where we need to make sure whenever the data is being transmitted from the one country to another country, we need to see the provision related to cross-border data transfer. Okay.
Sachin, just like add to your point where you mentioned that 24-hour deletion. So
Yeah.
basically, we
Yeah.
have two criteria according to data localization. Okay, so
Yeah.
if you are using any our in domestic payment channel like NEFT, RTGS, NAT, SWIFT,
Hmm.
CTS, for that you need to
Perfect.
delete that data within 24 hours. But if you are doing cross-border transaction via SWIFT, that you
Hmm.
can keep it abroad, but a copy should be maintained in India. Okay,
In India
that
also.
that's the
Perfect.
requirement of April 2018 circular of data localization.
Absolutely right. Anup, absolutely right. So basically, this you are saying based on the data localizations circulars, which is issued by the RBI. Okay, because Swift, yeah, we have to retain that data whenever there is a Swift transfer. Absolutely right.
So,
Yeah, Rohit.
will
Yeah.
yeah, so will this data be purged like post settlement or just within 24 hours? Because many a times it happens the settlement doesn't happen with the concerned bank in 24 hours, right?
So
Yeah.
basically,
So
there is a
basically,
criteria.
yeah, yeah, Anup.
Okay,
Sorry,
Sachin,
sorry.
go ahead. No,
No, no, no. You please continue, Anup. No problem.
okay. So
Please.
basically,
Yeah.
there is a requirement.
You are on mute, Anup.
Sorry, I was okay. So basically, as mentioned by Rohit, as you asked for the settlement, so bank need to define in their approach document whether they need to wait for settlement. But if as per the RBI requirement, if payment transaction leaves the bank environment, okay, then their 24 hours will start. Okay, then they need to do not need to wait for the settlement. Okay, that need to be delivered in 24 hours. That's the
Yeah.
requirement from the RBI.
Yeah, so this is a requirement from RBI, Rohit. Now, what happens is there are this Visa Masters and MX, correct? So the transactions lag which was went outside India or cross border, only that particular transaction lag was deleted. For example, they would be having a systems where the transactions will be kept for 24 hours. Now, one leg of the transactions would be there with the Visa Masters MX as well, correct? So that settlement is generally being done with the Visa Masters MX only. So that details you would be also having those details, and that Visa Master or MX, they would be also having a details of transaction. So your settlement or reconciliation will not affect due to this particular data purging, Rohit. Okay.
All right, Sachin, perfect. Thank you.
Because he is a middleman, na? Visa Master MX and a middleman between you and the recipient. So that part would be taken care. Okay.
All right, right.
I have a
Perfect.
question.
Yeah, please tell me.
So I'm working for a college in Toronto, which is called College of Nurses. And now Ontario has basically, I'm just getting background what is happening. So
Again, your voice is breaking, Sayan. I don't know
sorry,
what about others. Guys, are you able to hear Sayed?
Not really able to hear. Your voice is cracking actually.
Yeah. So just change your this microphone if you are using something, or maybe it is because of microphone issue.
Or
Yeah,
probably you
or
can type
maybe
it down in the like chat box.
chat also, or maybe you can join with the mobile phone. Okay. Perfect. So this is about a data privacy programs and principle, guys. Now in the data privacy programs and principle, company will identify the internal requirements and the external requirements. Like we can bifurcate the privacy program requirement in a two different sections. One internal requirement, one is external requirement. So as a part of internal requirement, what company would be doing, they would be assigning a roles and responsibilities to key stakeholder. They would be documenting and implementing the privacy policies and procedures. In the vendor management program also, they will include a data privacy sections, that how data privacy would be taken care in case of vendor onboarding process. They would be performing the privacy audits and assessment on a regular basis, correct? So we can classify those requirements as an internal requirement. Then there would be certain external requirement that will depend on the local data privacy law. Okay, so whatever is the law of land, as per that, what you will do, you will choose the appropriate privacy principle framework. Whenever you are writing the privacy notice, like in the upcoming slide, we will see what is a privacy notice, what information needs to be included. So you will post that privacy notice as per the law. Okay, that this five things needs to be included into the privacy law. So you will add those details. You will maintain a oversight over third party, that whether the third party is adhering with the law or not. Will address the data subject right. Who is a data subject, guys? Data subject is who? Customer. Correct,
Whose
guys?
information you are collecting?
Whose information we are collecting, they all are a data subject. So in every law, you will see that they have been given certain right. Okay, so in organization, you will see that they are maintaining DSR register. DSR
Yes.
register, which is called as a data subject right register. Okay, so we will suppose as per the right, if somebody have asked something, we need to address those details. Okay, for example, in GDPR law, in GDPR, there is one rights which has been given to the user, that they can ask the deletion of data. It's within their right that, okay, suppose if the mutual agreement between the data subject and data controller ends, then they have a right that they can ask for the data deletions as well. So
Hi,
likewise,
Sachin.
we
Can
would
you
be,
hear me?
yeah, now I can hear you, Sayed, properly.
I'm so sorry. I'm jumping into the conversation here. I think you have started something else. But what I was telling you
Yeah.
that I'm working for a college called College of Nurses, and
Uh-huh.
now the College of Nurses is inducting something 35,000 nurses across the world, and most of them are coming from India. There's
Mm-hmm.
male nurses, female nurses, and obviously the college is asking confidential information. Now,
Mhm.
in Canada, we have a confidential, this privacy law and the confidentiality of the what we are discussing here. So the
Perfect.
policy should be discussing not only the Canadian law, but also the Indian one as well. Or I'm just trying to understand the cross border in the perspective of the cross border
Yeah.
requirements.
Yeah. So in this case, the College of Nurse, this college is there in Canada. Okay.
Correct.
So they have to adhere with the law of land. So here the law of land would be whatever is mentioned in your Canadian law. Even though you
Correct.
are collecting the informations of the Indian customer, correct?
Yeah.
You are
Mhm.
collecting the data of Indians, but
Right.
but the law that would be applicable over there would be the whatever Canadian data privacy law that will applicable. The provision of Indian DPDP Act would not be applicable in this scenario. You can understand this with the help of this example. For example, in India as of now there is no privacy law, but suppose a tourist is coming from a EU country for the
Right.
purpose of visiting. Now when
Right.
the tourist will come, obviously he will buy a SIM card. At the
Yeah.
time of buying a SIM card, that person will provide the passport, correct? Now,
Correct.
passport is one of the PII information, correct?
Right. Right. Right.
Now
Right.
that customer cannot say that okay, you have to implement the controls which are mentioned in our GDPR. Then it would be very
No, I
difficult
understand.
for our telecom company to implement the
No, I
controls, correct?
understand.
So basically, the law of land would be applicable. Okay,
No, that's just
and
hypothetically. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
maybe out of the 35,000 nurses coming from India,
Yeah.
maybe one or two can say that no, we cannot provide this information because this is
Because
against
of
the
this
law of
is
Indian land, right? So this
perfect,
is again
perfect.
wrong thing. Okay, that's fine. I understand that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this is about the internal or external requirements, guys. So in external requirement, we need to make sure that we are addressing a data subject right. We were addressing about the customer, investors, and industry sources, and accommodating the contractual relationship. So whenever we are onboarding a third party in the contract, also we will add a clause related to data privacy that okay, boss, you need to comply with this data privacy law. So this is about a requirement, guys. Now we will discuss about the various types of privacy documentation. Like as a part of this data privacy law, whatever law which we have seen here, DPDP, GDPR, or whatever other laws which are there, okay, in each of the law you will see that they will require company to document few things. They will require a company to maintain a certain documentation, certain kind of assessment they would be requiring. So we will discuss about those assessment, okay, that what is those assessment, what is needs to be done as a part of that assessment, okay. So documentations plays a very important role in the adherence of data privacy law. Okay, this documentations plays a very important role. Okay, effective like governance program we cannot establish without proper documentation. Now as per the applicable privacy law, as per the applicable privacy law, the company needs to maintain a certain kind of documentation. Like, for example, there would be a data privacy policies, procedures, external privacy notices. Okay. Then some kind of consent mechanism would be there. Then both inward facing policies, procedures, and related documentation, and outward facing privacy notices. Now in the next slide we will discuss that what is this privacy notice. Social media pages related documentations are regularly reviewed and evaluated to ensure alignment with the privacy requirement. Now we will discuss about this privacy documentations and we'll discuss about the type of documentation. Before we discuss this, let me tell you guys that list which we are discussing is not an exhaustive list. We are just discussing few of the example. Apart from that list, the privacy law may require some other documentation. Okay, which company needed to do as per the law. Okay, but in yeah, yeah. I believe there is some background noise. Those who are not speaking, you can mute yourself. Let me mute all. Perfect. So what I am telling you guys now, the type of documentation which we will be going to discuss in the upcoming slide, those type of documentation is not an exhaustive list. Okay. Each enterprise needs to document the requirements as per their applicable legal regulatory requirement. Now here first documentations comes, which is a privacy notice. Now, what is a privacy notice, guys? Privacy notice is like a some kind of statement, okay, whether it is inward facing or outward facing, some kind of statements that is written for the data subject. For example, I am the data subject. So when companies would be collecting a data, company would provide me some kind of privacy notices. Let me just show you one real life example here. For example, guys, I want to download my PAN card. Okay, so those who are not from India, guys, so this is our one of the identity card. Okay, one of our identity card. Okay, now I want to download this particular card from our official website. Now on this official website, I will be able to see some privacy notice. Okay, that what is the use of my personal information if it is collected, what information they are collecting, okay, how they are collecting, how they are processing that data. So basically in the privacy notice you will see that how enterprise collects, uses, retains and safeguard and securely dispose the personal information of the user. So they will mention everything. What is the use of personal information? Okay, how they will ensure the security of the data, by what time they will retain the information. So they will mention that we will retain as per the applicable regulatory requirement or whatever. Okay, and then the details of grievance officers are also being written here. So this is what, this is the privacy notices which is being given to the users. Okay, at the time of collection of the data, when they were collecting this data with me, my PAN and Aadhaar number, at the time of collection they have given me the privacy notices, correct? So this is the privacy notice, because privacy relies on an informed consent. We will discuss about this as well, what is the consent, okay, and how consent text are being written. So because privacy relies on an informed consent, enterprise privacy notice establishes a legal accountability as well. Now suppose if you don't provide this privacy notices to the users, the users can sometime claim, or they can do the proceeding, legal proceeding against the company as well, that how you have used my data or why you have shared that data with the regulatory authority. So in privacy consent you will see one more clause, that we would be sharing your data with the regulators without your information. Like they will take that prior permission, that suppose if your data would be required by the regulator, we may share your data. Okay, apart from that condition, we would be taking a prior approval of yours while sharing a data. But suppose if it is required by a regulator, then we would be sharing your data without your consent, correct? So those kind of details are being written into the privacy notices. The data controller and data processors both are responsible for complying with the parameters established by the privacy notice. So whether data is directly collected by your controller or whether it is collected by a processor, privacy notice needs to be given to the users. Okay. So in privacy notice, what kind of details you will see, guys? You will see what personal data collected, why it is collected, how the personal data will be used, with whom your personal data are shared without your knowledge. So I told you that you will see one clause, that your data can be shared with the regulator without your informations, because if regulator have asked us, we need to share it, correct? Then how long your personal data would be retained as per the retention, whatever retention period defined in a regulatory requirement, we would be retaining your data, how the data collections may impact the data subject, and how we would be destroying your data. Like once the retention period will over, how securely we will dispose your data. So all the details would be included into the privacy notices. Okay. informing data subject about a procedure to exercise their rights over associated personal information. Like in the privacy notice, we will also mention that as a data subject, what kind of rights you are having. Okay, what you can ask. So those rights will also be there. So generally, you will see this for the companies who are complying with the GDPR law. So, for example, suppose if we read the Tesla privacy notice, so in that we may see some data subject rights as well, because in GDPR there are certain points which talks about a data subject's rights. So, in their privacy notice, you may see some pointers related to data subject rights as well, because in this case, as of now, DPDP rules are not finalized. So, you may not see the data subject right, but in some other privacy notice you may see those data subject rights also. Okay, now where company will place the privacy notice, guys? Privacy notice can be placed on the enterprise website. I have shown you the real life example, correct? This is the enterprise website only. So at there you may see a privacy notice. Sometime on the forms, correct? Like for example, if the personal informations are collected using a form, like previously in order to issue the SIM card, we were filling a manual forms, or in order to open a bank account, we were filling the manual forms, correct? Nowadays also, suppose when you go to hospitals and all, so sometime you have to require to fill a form. So in that form also you may see the privacy notice. In the brochures as well. Okay. Such those are sent each year in the United States by the payment card enterprises. So that brochures are also sent every year, like at the time of collections as well. And like then annually also. Any document that provide an enterprise facility such as an healthcare clinic or hospital, correct? So that document can also include the privacy notice. In the contract also, for example, when we are signing a contract with the third party, so in that third party contract also we can add a clause related to privacy notice, that how the data would be collected, used and shared. And it can also be put on a signs as a sign on a building or interior walls, correct? Sometimes we are putting this privacy notice on the offices placeholder or some kind of signboard, correct? So this is how the privacy notice can be presented to data subject. So these are the various ways through which we would be providing a privacy notices to the data subject. Okay, now here we would be discussing about the terms about the privacy notice, like how we need to make sure that the user have read that privacy notice. For example, guys, I will just give you one example. For example, you have opened one website. Okay, when you have opened that website, one window has been appeared, and that window has been appeared only for 2 seconds. After 2 seconds, that window was disappeared. Okay, and in that window they have written their privacy notice. Okay, they have written their privacy notice. Now in this case, what you have done, you have not provided a sufficient time to the data subject so that they can read the privacy notice. So the timing of privacy notice is also very important. Okay, privacy notice needs to be provided at the time when you are collecting the data, and you need to give the sufficient time to the users so that they can read the same and they can accept. If they feel that okay, privacy notice is in their favor or within their best interest or not, then only they will provide their data. So you need to give the sufficient time to the user. If you have given a very little time, or if you have not given a sufficient time to the data subject prior to the collection, then that privacy notice will be assumed as a insufficient. Okay, we will assume that you have not provided the privacy notice, and whatever consequences of this particular thing, that will become an applicable. Okay, so if we have provided a very less time to the user, then we will assume that the notice was not sufficiently provided, and generally it is not acceptable. Okay. Similarly, guys, there are two terminology. One is a privacy notice and one is a terms of uses. Terms of uses. So whatever services that we are taking against those services, generally company will define the terms of uses is correct. Now, sometime what is happening, whatever needs to be written into the privacy notices, company include those para as a part of term of uses. Okay. What they are doing is whatever as a part of privacy notice, we need to include what information collected, why, how long, all those correct paragraph or all these points we need to include. Now, sometime what is happening in the terms of use statement, if company will include those, then what will happen, there will be an overlapping between the privacy notice and the terms of uses. So it is always advisable to maintain separate documents. Okay, privacy notice needs to be separated from the terms of uses statement to avoid the perceptions of duplicity or of function. So generally, like suppose if you see any options where companies are providing a privacy notice as a part of terms of use statement. So as an auditor or you need to highlight and you need to recommend the company to maintain a separate privacy notices. Okay. So this is all about the privacy notices, guys. Any query, any doubt here? Any query, any doubt in the privacy notice? All clear?
So Sachin, can we replicate these? No, uh, obviously this is a very high level and macro level information. But if we want to implement these ones, or do we have any things within the company itself, like employees are being hired, and then we are collecting the information for the new employee. So do we
Correct.
replicate this one, the privacy, all these things in the appointment letter, or
Yeah,
the,
correct, correct. Privacy notices as a part of privacy notice, we will define that how we will ensure security of your private data, correct? How
right,
much period
right.
of time your data would be retained. So once this law will become applicable, this privacy notices needs to be put everywhere wherever we are collecting the privacy PISPI informations. Okay,
Right.
everywhere at all the points.
Okay, thank you.
Now the next is what consent form, guys. Okay, next is what consent form. Let me just check. Somebody has written something in a chat. Is there any tool which identifies privacy which are against us? Like what, Jinesh? In which term? Which term, Jinesh? Can you elaborate your questions a little bit more?
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, Jinesh.
Okay. So, Sachin, for example, in the latest case of Instagram,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they overnight they have updated their privacy laws that they would be using our data, let's
Hmm.
say photos, whatever my phone is using, whatever information Instagram is capturing, without
Hmm.
our consent. That is mentioned in their
Hmm.
privacy law, which got updated recently, and
Hmm.
now then how to tackle such things, right? Tomorrow even a company might take our company's information, for example MCA
Hmm.
for India,
I got a
so
point.
there could
Got a
be
point.
another third party. Yeah.
Hmm. So basically, see what is the requirement, Jinesh, whenever you are updating anything in a privacy law, or suppose if you are doing any changes, okay, in the uses. Suppose you have, for example, I will give you one example. You have collected my PII data for the purpose of X reason, and now you want to use that data for Y reason. Then again, you need to take my consent. Otherwise, this is a violation of privacy law. Are you getting my point? Suppose you have collected my data for X
Yes.
reason. Instagram was saying that I
Mhm.
will use your photos for X reason. Now, suppose tomorrow, if they will see that I will use your data for Y reason, then you will see that on the next day itself, there would be new upgrade. In the new upgrade, they will mention that we have changed our privacy policy. This is a new policy. Please read the same and click on the button. Like you will, they will ask you to tick box or on one that you have read it and understood the terms and you are agree with the terms and condition. then only they can use that information for Y reason. Otherwise, this is a violation of law. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, whenever there is an update, it is very important that we will inform to the users about that update. Generally, you would be getting those alerts from the YouTubes as well. Like whenever there are changes in their
Yes.
privacy policy, you will get an email that we have updated our privacy policy. Go through the
But they
same.
don't exactly mention what are those changes in that email.
Correct. They don't
And
mention as we have to read, and we are not very keen to read those.
yes,
So
and
we
then it
just
will go to a long text.
yeah, you are right, Jinesh. Yeah, but they are asking like they are taking our consent. So that must be
Okay.
definitely there. Yeah. So that is what the next topic is, guys. Consent form. Okay. So the intended use of a consent form are to provide an information for the potential data subject's current and future reference and document the interactions between the subject and the entity. So as a part of consent form, what we are doing, we are documenting that, boss, I have taken your consent. Okay. At that I am collecting your data and I would be using the data for this purpose. Okay. So consent form could be taken like in the consent form, you would be seeing an opt-in and opt-out button or sometime a tick box on a web page at the bottom of privacy notice or a statement or a signature box at the bottom of paper, which would provide you a mechanism to provide the consent. The more explicit it is that the consent must be provided to privacy notices, the greater the protection the enterprise gives. So, guys, see, consent needs to be written very explicitly. If you will try to write consent in a general manner, it may lead to some kind of legal consequences. So, it is better that you write consent very properly. That, for example, we have here, this is a consent text only. Here we are writing that I am providing my Aadhaar data for this purpose, for the purpose of downloading a e-pen card. Once I will share my Aadhaar data, then following information would be shared with the recipient: name, gender, date of birth, address, for this purpose. I have understand that the security and confidentiality of personal data provided for the purpose of Aadhaar based authentication is ensured by the company, and the data will be stored by this company till the time as mentioned in the guidelines from UIDI. So for example, in India, UIDI is a regulator for Aadhaar related data. So he is saying that my Aadhaar data will be written as per the UIDI guidelines, and company will provide an appropriate security controls. So here I have given the explicit consent, correct? A signed consent form on its own may not establish the adequate consent process. The informed consent process is an ongoing exchange of information between enterprise and data subject. So, for example, when the data has been collected, they have taken their your consent. So, this is one mechanism. Now, after that, also there would be a regular exchange of information between you and data subject. Let me just stop share the screen, guys. I will show you one example. For example, I will just try to see an emails which I am getting from a YouTube. So for example, if you are a YouTube creators and all, then also you will get a regular updates about a YouTube notices that they have changed their consent, or you are complying with their privacy laws and all. So they are sending this regular emails. So let me just see whether I can find out certain mails related to this consent, or maybe if not now, then in the next class I will try to provide you that information, that how they are providing. Yeah, like for example, let me share the screen. What is the meaning of informed consent? I'm just trying to show you. For example, they have updated something in the terms of services. So they have sent a notice to us like, okay, that this is what we have updated, this is what we have included, and request you to go through the same and provide your confirmations, or this is our privacy policy. In the privacy policy, this is the recent update that they have done. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that once the information is taken, after that also there is a regular or ongoing exchange of information between an enterprise and the data subject. Okay. So this mechanism you will see, guys. Okay. And it is called as an informed consent on the ongoing basis. Okay. Obtaining a document consent is a separate activity from a data controller informing data subject about how to make inquiry or notifying the enterprise of a various types of decisions, for example withdrawal of consent, request to delete a personal data, or request to deletion of data. So those all are the rights of data subject. So company will also inform to the users that what are their rights, what are the rights of data subject. Okay, in most of the cases, data subject have a right to withdraw their consent at any time. For example, when you have collected a data, at the time I have given you a consent for XYZ reason. Now, after 3 months, suppose if I realize that I have given you wrong consent, so I still have a right to withdraw my consent. That okay, whatever consent that I have given you earlier, now I want to withdraw my consent. So company should have a appropriate mechanism to take care about those scenarios as well, that how they would be, taking care of that informations. Okay, so that needs to be there. So this is about a consent form, guys. You need to make sure that consent form is there, and it should include certain pointers. I believe those pointers are there in some upcoming slides about the consent. Let me just see. uh, for example, guys, this is also their consent. Okay, what are the things that is included into the consent? Let's do this as well. Okay, now whenever we talks about a consent needs to be written explicitly. Okay, explicitly in accordance with the corresponding law. Now in the law, generally what you will see in the law, you will see that regulator will ask you to put the purpose of the data, purpose, like why you are collecting the data. You need to mention the uses of data. Okay, you need to specify what data would be collected or what data would be processed. So your consent should include at least this three, four, five, three details, like purpose, uses, and what kind of informations would be there. So you need to make sure that appropriate consents are being written as per the applicable regulatory requirement in relation to collection, use, and disclosure of personal information. We need to ensure that collection is being taken prior to commencing the, like, consent mechanism would be there prior to commencing the collections activity, prior to using the personal information for the purpose beyond those for which it was originally collected. So I have given you one example here also, correct? If you have collected the information for X reason, and if you are using that for Y reason, then again you have to take a consent. Okay, prior to transfer of personal information to third party or other jurisdictions. So in the consent mechanism, you will also mention that suppose if I am transferring your information to some third party or other jurisdictions, again I will take your consent. But suppose if I am transferring that information within a local law, or suppose if my regulator is asking, then maybe your consent will not be taken, correct? So that is important. You need to take care about all these points. Now, privacy engineers are needed to ensure that consent options are provided to individual appropriately and consistently. The privacy engineer should also ensure that the associate consents and withdraw of consents are appropriately recorded. Now, what happens is, guys, for example, this is my application. Now, in this particular application, when I would be ticking on this option, then this consent would be stored in my database. Okay. Now, in database, how it would be stored, this is being taken care by the privacy engineers. So they will tell me that, okay, in my database, we would be having one column of consent where we would be writing that Sachin has provided a consent for version 1. So guys, you need to make a appropriate version, because in database, you cannot store the entire text, entire consent text. Otherwise, what will happen? Maybe it will take a lot of storage, and it would be like in your database also, it would be difficult to store the entire text of the consent. So instead of writing the text of consent in the database, what we are doing is we are storing the version details that we have taken the consent of user on v1. Suppose after that, if you have added something or you have deleted something, then you will make that version 2. So likewise, we need to make sure that we have an appropriate channel or appropriate mechanism to record the consent. And when user is asking or withdrawing asking for the withdrawal of consent, at the time also we should have an appropriate mechanism to take care those requests. Okay. So this is being taken care by the privacy engineers. Okay. And we need to make sure that how we are storing that, whether we are storing in a digital manner, manual manner, or whatever. And user should also be provided with the option to deny the consent. Suppose if user is not agree, then they can opt out as well. So this is what is important in case of consent, guys. Okay. And suppose in this case, wherever there is a multiple regulation throughout the world. Okay. Suppose if you have a one branch in India, if you have one branch in the European country, then you have to comply with the multiple regulation. Like in India, once the rule will become finalized, we need to comply with the DPDP. In European country, there is a GDPR, correct? So now what we need to do is we need to understand both the laws. Okay, in both the laws, we need to see what are the specific requirements related to the consent mechanism, what needs to be included, and accordingly, we need to frame our consent word so that it can comply both the laws or regulations. So that also we need to take care when there are multiple regulations applicable for the consent mechanisms. Okay, guys. So this is about a consent. In consent, one more provision you will see that consent also needs to be provided in the local languages. For example, you as a user, suppose if I don't understand the English, so company should also provide me a mechanism so that I can transfer those consent in the local languages. Then company will also be implement a process that how they would be taking the consent of the Vyangjan. Suppose if I am someone who is not able to read, then for me there is an option of this play audio button. So suppose if there are any Divyangjan who cannot read or who cannot, read the text and all, who cannot see, then for that there would be a play audio option, correct? So company also need to establish an appropriate mechanism for those kind of people. So this is all about consent, guys. So I hope this is clear to everyone. Any query, any doubt related to this, you can ask. Any query, any doubt related to consent, you can ask, guys. This is clear? This
Thank
is
you.
clear, guys. Yeah, perfect. Okay, guys. Now, what we will do, guys, whatever is remaining, this topic, we will try to cover those topics in the next class. Like we have already 10-20 minutes late. So we will cover this topic in the next class. Any other query, any other doubt from our today's session, guys? Any other query, any other doubt from our today's session, you can ask. No query, no doubt. Perfect. Okay. Now, let me first just stop the recording. I want to discuss couple of things.